everyone, this is Bonnie from Backward Story, and I have another great book haul post for you this month. This month, a lot of the books were actually purchases. I have more purchases than I do review copies this month, which is a nice change because usually it's the other way around. The left pile is actually signed books that I purchased for book signings this month. The middle pile is stuff that I just purchased, and then the right-hand pile is everything I was sent for review. And then the floor is, one of them is a books for trade, one of them is a gift, and then I have two things that are not book related that I just wanted to show off, so let's get started. Alright, so let's start with the stuff on the floor. I just really wanted to show off this really cool steelbook for Coco. This is a Best Buy exclusive, and it's gorgeous. I don't know if you can still get it on their website. That's how it looks on the inside. And then that's how it looks flat. Very, very gorgeous. I was really excited to get the steelbooks. I have the steelbooks for a lot of the Disney items, and they just always look nicer than the regular editions do. And I purchased my yearly planner for 75% off. I got a Disney Thomas Kincaid one. So it's got some nice pictures interspersed throughout. That'll keep me entertained, and I always like getting these as a calendar because sometimes the pictures have hidden things, like you can find Jiminy Cricket or Tinkerbell or like a Mickey Mouse silhouette, so I love looking at the pictures every month on the monthly calendar, and I'm very excited to have a planner now as well so I can look at them a little more frequently. This was a books for trade. I have been looking for this arc for a really, really, really long time, since before the book was published. I have a finished copy. I have a hardcover. The cover is different on the hardcover copy. I really, really like the paperback cover. I like the hardcover cover as well. I really like both covers, but I am really, really obsessed with this cover, and I was really sad when it wasn't the final cover. And it's even signed right here, which is awesome. I wasn't going particularly for a signed copy. It's really awesome that it's signed, though. It's like a nice little extra. I'm just really happy to have this cover in my collection. It's one of the only arcs I've ever wanted because I really don't keep arcs, and I was so happy to finally find somebody who had it and had something they wanted to trade for it. So that was one of the most exciting moments of February for me. And while we're talking about Morgan Rhodes, the final book in her main series came out, Immortal Reign. Every year my dad gives me this series for Christmas. The books come out in November every year. This book was delayed a little bit. It came out in February, so he had given me money for Christmas. I saved the money so that when this book came out, I could buy it with the money he gave me and say that this book still came from him, so it continued the pattern of him giving me, I think, every book in the series except for number 1. So I purchased that with the money, so it's technically a gift. I purchased 3 ebooks this month. The first was Once Upon a Quest, which has 15 retellings of fairy tales and myths and stories that have quests on them. It is the third in the Once Upon line and the third time that Alethea Contis has had a story in them, so I have all 3. They debut at 99 cents each, so I have that. I purchased They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera because it was on sale for, I think, $1.99. I've heard really good things about it. I've never read him before, and this is supposed to be one of his best works, so I figured for that price I would just buy it and check it out. And I usually do blind buy contemporary as ebooks, so that's how I tend to read my contemporary books. And Lucky in Love by Casey West, which I did read as an arc, and I reviewed it last year sometime, and it was really cute, and I have all of Casey West's books on my Nook because, again, most of my contemporary stuff is stuff that I purchase as ebooks, and I tend to purchase print copies of fantasies just because I only have so much space, and fantasy covers tend to be my favorites, and they have maps and special pages, and yes, I tend to do that. Plus, I like fantasy more, so I spend more money on it. So you'll see the theme of contemporary books as ebooks for me. So those are the 3 ebooks I purchased this week. This pretty pile is everything that I purchased for book signings this month. Elise Kova and Susan Dennard were together for the promotion of their new books, and Elise actually had 2 new books come out. This was one of the 2, Society of Wishes. She co-wrote it with Lynn Larsh and I did not read her other series. I thought that might be a little much for me because it deals with organ harvesting and it's a little violent, and I don't know if I want to read it or not, but I do love her Air Awakened series, and I did want to read her brand new series, which is urban fantasy, and I think it's new adult instead of YA. I haven't read it yet. I just got it signed last week. And then this is an omnibus of her Golden Guard trilogy, which is a prequel to Air Awakens, and I won't give spoilers for who it's about. I would recommend reading it after Air Awakens, though, not before. And then I got all of the Air Awakens series signed previously the last time she was here. I also got all 3 books in the Scarlet Trilogy by A.C. Goggin signed, which I never had physical copies of these books. I had them on my Nook, but I didn't have real copies of it. I decided to buy it because she was signing, and then I purchased her new book, Reign the Earth. And then, of course, Sight Witch came out, and that is the 3rd book in the Truth Witch series. It's Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, and it's got artifacts and stuff in it. And now on to all of my awesome purchases. Lintang and the Forbidden Island. This is by Tamara Moss, and this is a series that is coming out in Australia. This is the 2nd book in a trilogy. The 1st book is coming out in the United States from an American publisher. I want to say this fall, unless that got changed. But this is the 2nd book. I've been importing them from Book Depository because I love Tamara and I cannot wait that long. Plus, I want to support her in her native country so that Australia keeps publishing her books. Shadow Song by S.J. Jones, and this is the sequel to Winter Song, which I really read and loved last year. That was a retelling of Labyrinth and the Goblin Market, and a lot of original story mixed into it. I haven't had a chance to pick this one up yet, even though I bought it as soon as it came out, and I've been super excited to read it, and then I just haven't read much this month, unfortunately. Say You'll Remember Me by Katie McGarry. I have a lot of her books. I flip-flopped over whether or not to buy this one because I haven't been liking her as much lately. Because, again, contemporary is not always my thing, but this one sounded really good. A lot of people were saying it's one of her best books, so I figured I would buy it. Although it gets a song stuck in my head by Taylor Swift every time I look at it. The Bells by Danielle Clayton. This is one of my favorite books that has come out so far this year. It is really well written. Her writing style is just gorgeous. The way that she describes things and makes you see them because they're very visual. That spine. It's gorgeous. So I was really excited to pick up a finished copy. And of course I'm not going to be able to, there we go. Get it closed back up. Wires and Nerve. Volume 2, Gone Rogue by Marissa Meyer. This is a sequel to Wires and Nerve, which is a spin-off of her Lunar Chronicles featuring Eco. And then I have 2 subscription book box titles, and they're both the same title, just different covers on them. I've got The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. This is the Owlcrate exclusive cover. And then I have the Fairy Loot exclusive cover, which is just the book with... It's in hardcover instead of in paperback, whereas Owlcrate is green instead of black on the cover. And I talk more about them in a comparison video, which I will link to down below. And then let's scoot all of this over. aka let's make the pile fall over as I try to move it. This is the Trader Prince by CJ Redwine, which is the third book in the Ravenspire series. I think it's technically called, even though each realm kind of has a different name at this point, but that was the first book, and so they just tagged it as such. And these are fairy tale retellings, and I love them, and I love CJ Redwine, and I had an arc of this one, and I didn't get around to reading it, so at some point this year I'm going to read this, and I just want to savor it and not rush into it. And then, oh, I don't know why these are in that pile. I did get these in February. They were part of a box that I got from Book Outlet, so I'm just going to post the picture here so that you can see everything I got. For some reason, these two books wound up in the pile. Oh, you know what? It was because the ALA Awards were this month, and I started Instagramming bookstagramming pictures because these two were 2 of the 10 Alex Award winners, and I thought it was really cool that I had just gotten them in the mail. So they probably just wound up in the pile because I had pulled them out. So I usually try not to show all of those pictures because otherwise these videos just get too long. However, this book I did get through Barnes & Noble, I think. I had a coupon and it was on sale, so I got it for like $10 or $11 on their website. So I did wind up getting 2 of the 3 books in the series this month, and then the 3rd one I got last month, so it's in the January haul, and I'm super excited to read them really soon because I heard that they were inspired by people like Alice in Wonderland and Dorothy from Oz, and how they come back and have trouble readapting to the world that doesn't think their adventures were real, and it's a boarding house run by somebody who has also been on the adventure. And one of the books, I want to say this one, I could be wrong, one of the books is Jack and Jill, and I'm really excited for all of these. And then the last purchased book was Jeweled Fire by Sharon Shin. I bought a used copy online because this is a series my dad was also buying for me, and we had pre-ordered the paperback, and it never came out, and so I finally just picked it up in hardcover. And I have the 4th one in hardcover. I bought it last year from Book Outlet, and I just never picked up the 3rd one, and then I finally found it for a good price and picked it up, so now I have a complete set and can finally read these. I did get a couple of interesting ebooks for review this month, so I will go over them really fast for you. The first is from Twinkle with Love by Sandhya Menon, which Mandy and I are both super excited to read. This is a companion novel to When Dimple Met Rishi, which we both really enjoyed last year. Peace Binks by Alethea Contis, which I've already read and reviewed, and it's super cute, just like the other books in her Nocturne Falls Universe series. Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young, which I've been hearing really good things about and am excited to read myself. Heart of Thorns by Bree Barden. Pretty in Punxsutawney, which doesn't have a cover yet, but it is kind of a Groundhog's Day meets Pretty in Pink mashup, and it's by Laurie Boyle Crompton, who wrote a book called Blaze, or Love in the Time of Supervillains, which I really enjoyed reading, and I'm excited to read this because of the way it is mashing up some really interesting concepts. A Touch of Gold by Annie Sullivan. This sounds really awesome. It is about the daughter of King Midas and what happens after she survives being touched by him after his curse of turning everything to gold. Legendary by Stephanie Garber, which is the sequel to Caraval, which was one of my favorite books of last year, and I'm so excited to be reading this, and I've wanted to pick it up a few times this past month, and I haven't done it yet, but I'm probably going to read it in the next couple of weeks because I'm just too excited to wait. And A Blade So Black by L.L. McKinney, which is inspired by Alice in Wonderland. And now we have books for review, and I tried to kind of keep them by publisher so that the publishers are all together this time, even though they don't arrive at the same point throughout the month. This is from First Second Books and Macmillan. It is Brazen, Rebel Ladies Who Rocked the World. It's by Penelope Baggio. Probably butchered her name. I might have gotten this in January instead of February. I can't remember if it was in my last haul or not. Either way, it comes out the middle of this month. It is really cool. It is in graphic novel form. It is about these awesome women who have lived and done amazing things, and it tells you a lot about them. It is a kid's book. It has so many different things in it. Just all kinds. Look at all of this. Just so many amazing women in history, so I am excited to tell you guys more about that coming up in a couple of weeks. Flight Season by Marie Marquardt. This is from Wednesday Books, which is part of St. Martin Press. The Window by Amelia Brunskill. This is from Penguin Random House, and I'm on tour with Random House in, I want to say, April for this book. It is a thriller, and it is about twins. The Oddling Prince by Nancy Springer. This is from Taichion Books. Again, I might have pronounced that a little wrong. Blink Books. Olivia Twist by Lori Langdon. This is one that I'm going to be doing some stuff with Lori and reviewing it for Broadway World coming up. It is a retelling of Oliver Twist. It is gender bent, and it's also a little bit based on the musical Oliver. So I am really excited to get into it a little more. A couple from Simon & Schuster, The Favorite Sister. This is by Jessica Knoll, who wrote Luckiest Girl Alive, which was a book that Mandy really loved. And Every Note Played by Lisa Genova. This is her latest book. She wrote Still Alice. She wrote Left Neglected. She is a doctor who takes things that she has studied and turns them into like novels, and they're really good, and I really like her a lot. So definitely she's one to check out if you've never looked into her. I think that Still Alice was made into a movie, either that or Left Neglected. One of her books was made into a movie. She's got like 4 or 5 books out. I want to say it was one of those 2, though. A couple of books from Harper this month. Where I Live by Brenda Ruffner. This, I think, either just came out last week or next week, and it is about a teenage girl who is homeless, and she is living in her school. And it sounds really interesting, so I'm hoping to pick that one up sooner rather than later. They also sent me The Final Six by Alexandra Monier, which I want to say I read. Was it called Suspicion? I read one of her books before. Yeah, Suspicion. It had like purple swirlies on the cover. I want to say it was a retelling of The Minotaur and the Labyrinth or something like that. I'll have to see if I reviewed that. I definitely read something by her before, or else wanted to, one or the other, because she's ringing a bell for me. But this is her new book, The Final Six, and it looks very sci-fi, and so it's not a book I had known about beforehand, but it's really shiny and pretty. I really love the foil-ish cover to it. A few books from Bloomsbury. Jessica Day George has a new book out, The Rose Legacy. It's got a horse on the cover, so of course I want to read it. I'm not sure if it's middle grade or teen. It looks middle grade. I could be wrong about that. And then a new middle grade by Lauren DeStefano, Dreaming Dangerous. And she's written a lot of middle grade books, as well as the teen series Wither that has been very popular. And then they also sent me this really cool hardcover, What to Do When I'm Gone, A Mother's Wisdom to Her Daughter. It's by Susie Hopkins and Hallie Bateman. And that's what I'm going to be featuring very soon as well. It's got some art in it. They also sent me a hardcover of How New York Breaks Your Heart. It's by Bill Hayes, who wrote Insomniac City. Photo essay book, so I'm going to be posting that on Broadway World very soon. And everything else I got was from Disney. They've sent me a lot of stuff throughout the month. I'm really excited to work with them. One of my most anticipated arcs so far this year arrived from them, City of Bastards. It is by Andrew Shvarts, and he wrote Royal Bastards last year, which I loved. If you like Six of Crows, you're going to really like this book. I didn't really understand how they were going to compare to one another when I started reading, and then when I read it, I really understood how they compared to one another, and I think it's a perfect comparison. So definitely, if you like that, you are going to like this too, and I'm so excited I have my hands on it and can start reading it. Nothing Happened by Molly Booth, which looks like a good contemporary read. Autonomous by Andy Marino, which looks like a high-speed car chase type book. The Sweetest Kind of Fate. This is by Crystal Sestari, and it is the sequel to The Best Kind of Magic, which I haven't read. Mandy has it, so we're going to read it and then read this one and review it shortly. And that's one we both wanted to read last year, so it's exciting that another one came out. Drawn Together by Min Lei, with art by Caldecott medalist Dan Santat, and I probably butchered both of their names. This is going to be a really, really important picture book, I think. I really hope it's up for some awards next year. I'm going to be talking more about it soon. And it's just going to be a really important book that talks about the way there can be a huge gap in generations and culture and the way we communicate with one another, even within the same household, in the same family. But yet we still have a way to communicate with one another. And I think it's going to be a really important picture book, and I hope it gets as much attention as it deserves this year. And the last book I received for review is also a picture book. This Story is for You. It's by Greg Pizzoli, and I featured his Christmas book, The 12 Days of Christmas, last year, and I attended a reading with him around Christmas time where he read a couple of his other books, and they were all really, really funny, and I'm excited to read this one. I actually haven't thumbed through it yet, but I'm excited to read it because he was really funny, and I'm excited to see how this one is, too. So that is everything I have in this month's haul. I will be back next month with my March haul, and I'm really excited because I already know 2 of the books that will be in that haul. They are my top 2 favorite books of the entire year so far. They both come out in March. I'm planning to purchase both of them. I already have orders in, and I already can't wait to share them with you, as well as whatever else I may get this next month. So I will talk to you guys again soon. Have a great March. Bye.